2 weeks before the president's motorcade rolled through Dallas, Lee Harvey Oswald walked into the FBI field office and handed over a note. That note was signed with his name. It was placed in a file. And 2 days after Oswald was shot dead on live television, an FBI agent tore it into pieces and flushed it down a toilet. No one knows exactly what it said. That note is gone. But the order to destroy it came from somewhere. And that order came fast. This is the investigation no one wanted you to see, not about who pulled the trigger. About what the FBI erased before the Warren Commission ever got started. One note, one man, one question that could change everything you think you know about November 1963. Here is the clean timeline. October 7th, 1963. Bobby Baker, the man known as the 101st Senator, resigns under a cloud of scandal. Baker was Lyndon Johnson's closest political fixer. A Senate investigation is digging into kickbacks, bribes, and a $7 billion defense contract tied directly to LBJ. The vice president is being named in sworn testimony. Life magazine is preparing an exposé scheduled to hit newsstands the week of November 24th. According to the editorial business manager James Wagenvoord, that article was going to end Johnson's political career and possibly put him in prison. Then, on November 1st, FBI agent James Hosty visits Marina Oswald at her home in Irving, Texas. He is asking questions about her husband. About 10 days later, Lee Harvey Oswald shows up at the Dallas FBI office. He asks for Hosty. Hosty is not there. Oswald leaves a note. That note goes into Hosty's desk. November 22nd. The president is dead. November 24th. Oswald is dead. And within hours, Hosty is called into the office of his supervisor, Gordon Shanklin. According to Hosty's sworn testimony, Shanklin handed him the note and told him to destroy it. Let that sit for a moment. The note itself becomes the artifact. A single sheet of paper in an unsealed envelope, signed, delivered by hand, placed in a federal file, and then erased. No one knows exactly what it said. The receptionist who received it, Nanny Lee Fenner, claimed Oswald threatened to blow up the FBI and the Dallas Police Department if they did not stop harassing his wife. Hosty said the note was milder. He claimed it simply demanded that the FBI speak to Oswald directly and stop questioning Marina. Two versions. One note, 0 surviving copies. The FBI's internal investigation in 1975 could not locate a single record of the note ever existing, but multiple witnesses confirmed it had been there. Now, stack the red flags. Red flag 1. The note was destroyed within hours of Oswald being killed. Not days. Hours. The body was barely cold. Consider what that means. The primary suspect in the assassination of the president had personally delivered a written document to the FBI less than 2 weeks before the shooting. That document was physical evidence, and someone gave the order to shred it before any investigation could begin. Red flag 2. Agent Hosty's name appeared in Oswald's personal address book. So did his phone number. So did his license plate. When the FBI provided that address book to the Warren Commission, Hosty's information had been removed from the typed transcript. The commission was never told. Think about that for a second. The FBI did not just destroy evidence. They edited what they handed over. Red flag 3. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover sent a memo to the White House the day after the assassination. The memo was addressed to LBJ's aide, Bill Moyers. The key line read, quote, "The thing I am concerned about is having something issued so we can convince the public that Oswald is the real assassin. Not investigate. Convince." Red flag 4. Gordon Shanklin, the man who allegedly ordered the note destroyed, denied any knowledge of it until 1975. That denial was directly contradicted by Hosty and by William Sullivan, the FBI's assistant director. The House Select Committee on Assassinations later concluded that Shanklin's denial was not credible. Red flag 5. The Warren Commission operated for 10 months. It interviewed 552 witnesses. It never learned the note existed. Now look at the network. Lyndon Johnson controlled the investigation from the moment he was sworn in. He created the Warren Commission by executive order. He handpicked every member. Chief Justice Earl Warren initially refused to serve. Johnson persuaded him by invoking the specter of nuclear war. He told Warren that wild theories about Soviet or Cuban involvement could, quote, kill 40 million Americans in an hour. The goal was containment, not truth. LBJ was also Hoover's most important political ally. Hoover had held power over 6 presidents. He kept files on everyone. And he answered, above all, to the man in the Oval Office. If Johnson needed evidence managed, Hoover was the man to manage it. But Johnson had something bigger at stake than political capital. He was fighting for survival. The Bobby Baker scandal was not just embarrassing, it was existential. Witnesses were testifying about bribes. Insurance agent Don Reynolds told investigators he had seen a suitcase containing $100,000 in cash, described by Baker as a payoff to Johnson for a defense contract. Life magazine had documentation. Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General and a man who despised LBJ, was quietly feeding information to reporters. On November 22, 1963, a Senate investigator named Burkett Van Kirk was scheduled to take testimony that would directly implicate the vice president. That testimony was interrupted by news from Dallas. After the assassination, the investigation stalled and it never recovered. Now meet the human lever. Jack Ruby sat in a Dallas jail cell. He had killed Oswald on live television. And in 1965, he began writing letters. One of those letters was smuggled out and eventually auctioned. In it, Ruby wrote that Oswald had suddenly decided to go to work in the book depository weeks before Kennedy himself knew he was coming to Dallas. Ruby asked where Oswald got that information so far in advance. He wrote that it had to be someone pretty high in Washington. He named Lyndon Johnson. Ruby wrote, all that was planned by Johnson. No one would question the president about a conspiracy. Ruby also told reporters on tape that the world would never know the true facts. When asked if the people involved were in high positions, he said yes. He begged Chief Justice Warren to take him to Washington so he could speak freely. Warren refused. Ruby died of cancer before his retrial. He never testified under oath again. Now look at the motive that explains the machine. Johnson was not just politically vulnerable. He was cornered. The Senate investigation into Bobby Baker was exposing a decade of financial crimes. The life exposé was going to print. Kennedy's inner circle wanted him off the 1964 ticket, and Johnson knew that losing the vice presidency meant losing his immunity. No sitting vice president had ever been indicted, but a former vice president was fair game. The only path out was up. The presidency changed everything. The Senate investigation went dormant. The Life article was pulled. The Zapruder film, purchased by the magazine, was locked in a vault for 12 years. Johnson sealed assassination records until 2039. He ordered Kennedy's limousine scrubbed and rebuilt instead of preserved as evidence. And the Warren Commission delivered exactly what Hoover's memo had promised. A story that convinced the public. Now, the moment the story breaks. Return to the note. The FBI destroyed a signed, handwritten document from the man accused of killing the president. They did it within 48 hours of his death. They did it before any formal investigation. And they hid it from the Warren Commission for over a decade. What was in that note? Husty said it was a complaint about harassment. The receptionist said it was a bomb threat. But neither of those explanations justifies destruction. If the note proved Oswald was dangerous, the FBI should have kept it. It would have supported their case. If the note was harmless, there was no reason to destroy it at all. The only reason to destroy evidence is if that evidence contradicts the story you are trying to tell. Go back to the cold open. Lee Harvey Oswald, walked into the Dallas FBI field office and handed over a note. That note is gone. But the urgency to erase it remains. Within hours of Oswald's death, someone made a decision. Not to preserve, not to investigate, to destroy. That decision did not happen in a vacuum. It happened inside an institution that answered to J. Edgar Hoover. And Hoover answered to the president. 50 million Americans watched Jack Ruby kill the only man who could have told us what really happened. The note that Oswald left behind might have told us something too. But you will never read it. Because someone made sure you never could. What do you think was in that note? Drop your theory in the comments. If this investigation opened your eyes, hit like and subscribe. More cases are coming.